Hey, welcome to the Crazy J Podcast Show. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I got some good news for you. I gave my present job a week and a half that I'm going to leave it to a different position. I've decided to go to a job where it'd be more primarily men in the environment, managers and supervisors too, and other coworkers would be primarily mostly men. And why is this important for you to know this or to understand this? I'm going to say this in the nicest way. If you're disabled, you have to work with women. I don't know what it is about men who are disabled or who are small or whatever. It seems that way that they like to put people like me who have a physical disability working with women because hard labor is primarily for men. So there's not a lot of jobs for men who are disabled who want to be in a physical work environment or where mostly men are at work. So I'm going to explain this to you as easy as possible. Uh, Ever since I was a little kid, I've always been smaller. I've always been in a situation where people think that I cannot handle work or physical labor. And then they kind of place me to the left field or whatever field that they want to put me in itself. And I have accepted that role majority of my whole life because I felt like it is part of just who I am, right? I can't change anything about my left hand, my left side, and I can't expect other men in the field of labor to pick up the slack. But there's no reason for me to be working with women who are my supervisors all the time. And a lot of people say, "Well, what's the big deal about a woman being a supervisor that she's supervising you as me? Why is it a big deal that she's supervising me?" I think there's one thing that you have to wrap your brain around is the fact that a lot of times those managers or supervisors will limit your hours, will limit your work, will limit anything that possible for an excuse to save money for the company. Now, what I mean by that is that in retail, in the grocery stores, where I'm presently working, I'm about to leave, we had a whole 2 months off of peak time. So January, February, and some of March. And now March is still slow. And they assume that because I'm disabled, I should have less hours. So instead of not giving me like 35 to go down to 32, they put me all the way down to almost like 25 hours a week. And I can't make a living off that. But this is an example of what the opposite sex, who's would be my managers, feel it's okay to do because they assume that I'm just going to collect disability. They assume someone's going to just take care of me. They assume something's going on that, oh, I don't need to be at work. Oh, I don't need those hours. He can take the slack of not coming into work. It's not right. So, and I've noticed that everywhere that I've gone in the past is where most of the women that I worked with have done that with me in itself, one way or another. They change the rules during the during the day and not let me know, assuming that it's not a big deal that I didn't get the memo that they changed something in the progress of the job itself. So they made me look more stupid. So the reason why I'm telling you this is because I want people to realize this that if you are a person with a disability, or you know someone who's in disability, you should really try to figure out what you're good at and what you should be doing with your life. And I want people to really understand that as a guy, I don't have to be super sensitive and sweet and all that uh, feminine point of view because of my whole left side. My whole left side, my left hand makes me look very, very weak and very feminine, I guess you could call it. uh, it's kind of like the someone that is gay in they always flap their hands around a little bit as they walk. It's the best way to explain it. So a lot of times people like think that that's my personality because of my left hand of of having a stroke. So that in itself is what I have to explain to people. Like, that's not who I am. That's just my left hand side that makes me look a certain way. And I think that sometimes uh, businesses or people will also expect me to pick up the tab when other workers are not doing their job. For example, they just figured out that I am the one of the best workers on the field at this grocery store. So now they always wanted me to do more work than I have to, but they're not going to give me a raise. This has been going on with everyone else out there that could be promoted, but are not being promoted. Okay. So that's something to really think about. And I think that that's something that a lot of people, if you're an able-bodied person, you get it. You get to a point where that boss is not going to give you hours. What are you going to do? You're going to go somewhere else. People like me, I have to find something that I can do and be taught to do, then I can leave. And that's what I'm doing. I'm going to an automobile sales position. And because I don't know much about car parts, I can learn it green. So what I mean green is that I know primarily nothing about anything, but I can learn the parts and sell them. And just answering phone calls and answering if we have parts. But the environment is going to be different because now my managers are going to be guys, and majority of the people are going to be guys. Now I'm not going to say that there's not women there at all because I've seen a woman at the job that I interviewed and I got the job in. So she's there, but that's not the big deal. The big deal is that I am listened to as supervisor, where I am presently working and giving 2 weeks off or a week and a half that I'm leaving, that they don't have the common consideration of 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 making my life a little easier, and they it's such a weird thing. They expect me to take less hours, but they want me to do all their hard work. So then they're not going to give me a raise, but they're not going to give me more hours either. But they want me to do all this stuff that technically I should get paid more, and I should get the hours, and I should be able to maintain full time uh, uh, employment. But that didn't happen, so I had to leave. And I'm surprised that I will say this. I've learned a lot in the last year. I learned how to cool my temper down. I've learned how to not be so uh, annoyed by circumstances or people that are annoying to me. I used to get really annoyed by people that would tell me, uh, "You're not going to get hours, but we want you to do this," and then I would kind of make their life a living hell in certain ways in the past. But recently, I'm like, okay, if this is what you're going to give me, then that means I can go somewhere else. And that's all I really am trying to say. I don't, and this episode isn't really for all the able-bodied people because a lot of you people can just leave. What amazes me is that Gen Zs and all these other generations, alphas and all that, like you don't work, but our society is really pushing the middle class out of the picture, and they're going back to the 13th century of the Middle Ages, I guess, that they want their super poor and super rich, and the poor is going to have uh, get a certain amount of money per month based on the government fees. I think in itself that would ruin any country in a nutshell. Because if you have people that don't work, that don't do nothing, then they are willing to get themselves in trouble with crimes or drugs or alcohol or even commit uh, heinous crimes on each other. And then you're going to get an uproar against the government, any government. But let's leave that out for right now, folks. Let's talk about the matter that we have in hand. And I really think that people should understand that when I in the past said that I believe in abortion, and this is the good reason why why I do this, because if I didn't have support with the community or anybody, my family, I'd be screwed. I'd be homeless. I'd be gone. I don't know what would happen to me, right? But it's a good thing I have a conscious mind and I have something that's there. And a lot of people with disability don't have that. Maybe and when I'm talking about people that don't have it, I'm talking about people who are born that way. So I will say stuff like, I don't know if I do not agree or I agree with abortion, because I sometimes do, because it's a rough life. It's a very long life. It's rough. And if you can't wrap your brain around it, or you can't wrap your life around your disability and accept it and just keep moving on, you can make your life a pretty tough, pretty hard, pretty rough. You really can. You just can. And I hope that people understand that when I'm leaving the position I am, I did it for myself, and I did it for the fact that, like, you know what? I don't want to be taking 25,000 steps a day. I don't need to be uh, doing a certain line of situation where customers get so flustered because the body return rooms machines break down and they get all flustered. I don't need to be in that type of environment. It's not my fault that the machines break. It's not my fault that that you can't get your $3.30. You know, and I'll tell you this, that I think if you are disabled and you do like working with women, that's great for you. I mean, God bless your soul. If you're a guy and you're disabled and you like working with women, so be it. Then that's you. But I don't personally like it. I just think that that it contracts, no, not contracts, but it contrasts the idea of of nature. I just think it's not so much that I should be telling them what to do, but I feel like in some ways I'm their puppet and they are using my body and my space for other frustrations that they have with other men in their lives. Okay. I think that can sometimes happen. And especially if you're disabled, I think that can happen to you a lot faster than anyone else. People will take advantage of your situation where, like, they'll beat you, not maybe physically, but emotionally if they can. They can get away with it. I'm just saying. So I hope that people understand that if you are someone that knows someone that is disabled, I would feel bad for them. I do. I really do feel bad for people who are disabled. And I just don't understand why people are in that circumstances, but there's nothing I can really do to help them out. And I hope that you're able to help them out. So I'm going to leave you guys like this. I'm going to go. I want peace and love and kindness to you guys. And I hope everyone has a good life and a good job and everything else with it. I know I'll be back, do a podcast, and I will do the episode about those uh, uh, March Madness Sweet 16 games. Uh, but I'll keep up your posts. Follow me on Patreon. Follow me on YouTube, wherever you download your podcast. I am super tired. I always tell people I'll do a podcast on Thursday. Uh, so here it is. Thank you, and I appreciate it. God bless.